Welcome to TaylorMade Real Estate. My name is Taylor Longo, local real estate agent here in Colorado at RE/MAX Leaders. Thanks for joining me. Today is going to be a video for buyers. This is going to be a high-level buyer's guide. We will get into some more details, specific things as we go forward with this YouTube channel, but I want to give you guys that 10,000-foot view of what it takes to buy a house here in Colorado. So kind of my process of what I do with my clients just to get them started and get this process going is I'm gonna sit down with you, ask you, have you been pre-approved by a lender? What that means is they're gonna take a look at all your finances, all your debt, and they're gonna say, okay, here's the amount that you can afford. And they're gonna say, hey, you're approved for up to $800,000 for a loan, up to $1 million, $500,000, whatever it is. So that number is great. We wanna know that for sure, but the more important number of that is what's your monthly payment gonna be. So there's times that you could be approved for a high number, but that's not necessarily in your budget. We don't want you to be what they call house poor. When they say that, they don't want you spending all your money on your mortgage payment, not leaving you anything left for essential stuff, groceries, all that kind of thing, or traveling, enjoying your life, going to do all the fun stuff that you want to do. We don't want you spending all your money just to live in a house. So after you get that pre-approval, it's time to set up your search for a house. So what I ask my clients to do is, hey, make me a list of the top 10 things you're looking for in a house, whether it's location, school district, walkability to shops, restaurants, if you want to be close to trails, walking paths, anything like that, parks, if you have kids. So all of those things is something that you definitely want to map out at the beginning so that we can cast that net, your search across the state. And then as we go forward, we kind of narrow that down. So once we have that pre-approval letter, we know what you're looking for home-wise, we go out and we start looking at houses. So you can do that at any time that the house is available to tour. I also offer my clients that, hey, if you're not available to go look at a house today that you really like, I'm happy to go preview it for you, video walk it with you. But I can go in as I know what you're looking for and I can tell you right away, hey, you're not gonna like this one, it doesn't have X. You are gonna like this one, it has majority of the things that you're looking for. So that list should be of most importance to least importance for you, what you're willing to give up on a house versus the non-negotiables. So something to keep in mind when you're starting to look for a house for sure. After that, once we find that house that you're like, yep, this is the one, could be the first one we go look at, it could be the 50th house we go look at, doesn't matter. Now it's time to make an offer. So with the offer, I'm gonna run comps for that house, make sure that they are priced correctly, make sure you're not overpaying, and we're gonna make an offer on that house. A lot of different factors come into that. We'll get into more detail on that in some later videos, but just some quick things like, are there multiple offers involved? How long has the house been on the market? All of those things come into play when we're trying to make an offer on a house. Once we get under contract, you are going to put earnest money down on that house. So you're gonna write a check to the title company, a certain amount. Usually that can be anywhere from 1 to 5% of the purchase price. And what that is that saying, hey, this is a good faith statement that I am actually interested in buying this house. And that money goes towards your down payment as well. So title company holds on to that. And then now we get into the contract. As a buyer, the contract in Colorado is very buyer centric, meaning that you have a lot of different ways to get out of a contract if the house doesn't end up being right for you. So one example of that, I'll go over a couple of the main ones that we look at. Inspection is big. This is an out-of-pocket expense for you as a buyer, but what this is, you're gonna get a home inspector at the home and they're gonna look through every single aspect of that home, almost more information than you want to know. But what they're looking for is any major defects on the home, if there's mechanical systems that aren't working, if the roof isn't in good shape, and they're gonna come back and give us that report. And then we go to the sellers and say, hey, these are some issues. We need to negotiate this. What are you willing to do for us? And we go into that process. Now, if the seller comes back and say, hey, I'm not doing anything, or say we find a structural issue with the home and you're not comfortable with dealing with the structural issue, we say, hey, we are out. We're not gonna buy this home. We submit a form that says, hey, we are terminating based on inspection. and you get your earnest money back from the title company. So you lost that inspection money, but I'm always going to advise my buyers, you need to do an inspection. Whether you're going to ask for anything from the seller or not, it's just a peace of mind thing, and you want to make sure that they don't find any major issues that you weren't aware of. The next big one is going to be appraisal. So say you're under contract for a house that's listed at $500,000. We gave them a $500,000 offer. The bank is going to send out an appraiser to make sure that that home is actually worth $500,000. If it comes back anything over that amount, you're good. Over is great. Now you have built-in equity to the home. Say it came in at $550, you bought it for $500, you now have $50,000 in equity in that house right away. If it comes in below that $500,000, now we have to go back to the sellers and negotiate on that and see what they're willing to do. If they're willing to come down and drop the price, or if they're saying, no, you need to bring cash to the table. All those different things become a factor, and that's something that you have to kind of work through. And that's my job as a real estate agent, is to negotiate with them and get them to a point where we both agree. After that, you're through the major dates and deadlines in the contract. So the last out that you have as a buyer here in Colorado is your loan availability deadline. Let's say, God forbid, 4 days before closing, you lose your job. Now, usually that deadline is the last one. It's the closest to closing, typically about 4 to 7 days before closing. You can say, hey, I don't qualify for the loan anymore. I can't buy this house. I need my earnest money back. So hope that doesn't happen. It does happen though. You would be surprised, but there are many factors that can cause that deadline to come into play. But again, that's your last out to get that earnest money back and for you to not purchase the home. If you are past those dates and deadlines and you for some reason say, hey, I don't want to buy this house, you lose that earnest money. So we here focus on all the time, we want to protect your earnest money. So we want to make sure we don't get to that point where we lose that investment for you. I personally have never lost anybody's earnest money, and knock on wood, I hope to keep that streak going, as that's something I feel is very important. I don't want you to lose out on that. Now, a closing from point of offer to going to the closing table at the title company is usually about 30 to 45 days. So that's what you're expecting. So keep that in mind with your timeline. If you're not looking to move into a house for a year, you're probably not going to searching for a home until about 3 months before that deadline, to make sure that, hey, everything's in place. We're set up for getting out of our lease if you're renting. All of those different factors come into play, but keep that in mind that a closing takes about 30 to 45 days. So you're gonna show up to the title company, you are going to either bring a cashier's check with your down payment money, or you're gonna wire money to the title company for that down payment and closing costs. Closing costs vary depending on lenders, a bunch of different factors. I'm gonna get a couple of different people in here from the lending side, from the title side, that will go into more detail as to what to expect with that. But after that, you're gonna close at the title company. You're gonna go through a bunch of paperwork. Your arm's gonna be tired from signing a bunch of documents, but that is just the process. They're gonna go through loan documents and they're gonna go through title documents. So title is gonna make sure that there's no liens on the house that are unpaid, and make sure there's nothing wrong with that going back as far as, time can tell, and they want to make sure you get a clean title to the house. After that, you are going to receive your keys at the title company, and now you have a brand new home and you are in debt. Is a good way to say that, but it's good debt. Getting into a house is a great way to build equity. You now have an investment, so that debt is good debt. Don't look at it as bad debt, and you have a piece of property to yourself, which is a great start to building that real estate portfolio. We'll talk more about what to do in the future, whether you're selling, holding on to that for a rental, anything like that. But this is a high-level buyer's intro for you guys. If you have any specific questions, please leave them for me. I would love to answer those for you. I just can't get into all the details, or else we're going to be here for way too long and you guys are going to get bored. So please come back, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Taylor Made Real Estate. Excited to have you guys here as always. Looking forward to seeing you next time.